Hi guys, let's have a quick look at layer icons in Affinity for the iPad. Now this is Affinity Photo, Affinity Publisher and Affinity Designer. They're all the same. Some things you need to know. The layer icons on the iPad and how to interpret them. So let's have a look with examples. Depending on the layer and how it was created, one of these icons will show in the left-hand pane of the layer. They're the same on all three apps on the iPad. They're the same on the desktop, but when you hover over them on the desktop, they display their type. They don't do this on the iPad. Now, a special case. When opening a raw photo on Affinity Photo, a raw image will open directly and won't yet have a layer. Once you develop such an image, it will create its own layer with no icon yet. So your developed image will be on a layer without an icon. And there you go. That's the raw image that I had there developed, and it has no layer icon, you'll notice, but it is still there. And it's a DNG type file. So there's no icon for that. If you want to work with it, you then have to rasterize it. And this is where we get some interesting changes. So excluding raw images, creating a new document by importing a new image from Photo directly will import the image as a rasterized image by default. You can see this from the icon. Now it's a pixel used for pixel-based editing. So if you import a new image from Photo, Apple Photos, it will import it as a rasterized image. It doesn't tell you it's doing it, it just shows the icon. And that's how you tell it's changed. When you're placing an image, however, when you already have a document created, you can add an image to it by placing it. If it's a photograph, it will be placed as an image type. And remember, to work on an image, you have to rasterize it. But by placing it, and you can see the two different images there, one is already rasterized. I just imported that from Photos. The second one, I placed it from Photos and it places it as an image file. It's a self-contained placed image that retains the original image data, including the color profile. Now this can have important issues for your design work. So remember, and again, the only way of telling is by looking at it. Now a placed images, even from files, land on the Layers panel as images types, regardless. You can see that's a PNG file. The same would happen with the JPEG file, JPEG, and you can see the one just below it. If it's placed, it comes in as an image file, which means to modify it, you'll have to rasterize it. It's important to remember that. It's something to be aware of when loading images, even graphics type images. So placed images come in as images, imported images come in as rasterized pixel images. You then need to rasterize before you make any pixel level changes. It doesn't tell you, but you can see it here. Now see the pumpkin I brought in as a PNG file, and it came in as an image, and then I selected from the context menu, rasterize, and it changes the icon to a pixel image icon. Just what you need. Now, placing an ETS type file results in something different. Linked or embedded document placed non-native documents such as PDF, PSG, SVG and EPS, and native Affinity documents, Photo, Designer and Pub files. They come in with that little brackets next to them. You can see we've got an EPS file sitting in there, and it's bracketed. Now, this is the full list. I won't read them off, but this is the full list from the online help menu. And you can see the little icons, and there are links there which don't work on here, of course, I might add, but on the online help file they do. You can see the most important ones possibly are at the start. Vector, used for placing vector objects into, a pixel layer, and that's the one we're looking at before. Look for pixel-based editing, a shape, a curve, artistic text, a frame text, path text, shape text, empty text, mask, compound, and image. Now there's the other one. If you're mostly importing and placing images from your Apple Photos or your Photos folder, they'll probably come in as an image file unless you import them, and then they'll come in as a pixel file. Ta-da! You'll get used to it. Linked embedded documents, adjustment layer, a live filter layer, a fill layer, and a pattern layer. They're worth looking up and experimenting with, and that's what I'd encourage you to do, to experiment with each of these layers. Just create a layer and put a live filter on the layer and see what happens. Put a fill layer in and see what happens. That's the best way of working it out, and also an excellent way to learn. Just to recap, the important thing with the layers is to remember the state of the image on the layer. There is no message. In other words, you can hover all you like and you will not get a message. The only way to tell is by looking at the icon. And you can rasterize an image and it changes the icon. That's it. If you do anything to one of the images, change it from one type of image to another, it will change that little icon. Now, you don't want me talking for ages about these because they're fairly self-evident. So I suggest the best way to learn about these icons is to discover them for yourself. Add a layer or select an edit option that creates what you're looking for, just as I have done. And you can see there I've created the word text, and although it's very hard to see because it's very small, it is showing as a text layer. Too easy. Okay. I hope that's been of some use, and thanks for watching this short little video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already, and please share the video with your friends. Your friends will really appreciate this if you share it.